Alright, hello. So I wanted to make a hopefully pretty brief video talking about P3. This first slide is just showing you your positions relative to the boss at all times. Basically, the way I think about it is that Merit is the closest with Folakos, and then we have Kinney and a tank on that side, and then the way I think it'll look like is Jug can fit here, Sire can fit here, and the DKs can fit here. Also, because when we do a lot of our grips, the DKs are on the back end, so they can just advance or whatever they want to do, if they can do that in that specific situation. So I want to go through the raid plan for the first few abilities, and then we'll go watch a liquid VOD. But right first, we're stacked up. This is about where we land. After we take all the damage from these stars landing, it's very scary, but we have a lot of CDs rolling. We get our rings. It's the first thing that happens, right? And so it'll end up looking like this. And since we either go this way or the other option would be like this way, we end up in this back area, and so Skull will be our center. We'll also be using Ava as a ping to indicate like the middle. So in that case, right, this would be 4, 3, 2, and 1. Alright, so moving on, right, this is the rings I was telling you about. The goal is to get hit by the first ring right away. Either it'll be left or right, and we'll call it. Then you want to get hit by the second ring as soon as you can when the debuff falls, and then you want to back up to get hit by the last ring as late as possible, or, you know, when all the debuffs are falling. This is going to become a lot tighter, obviously, at the end of the fight. After that, we have our Devour, and when we have our Devour, the tank is going to be soaking over in this group, and so when that Devour ends, the tank is going to go this way, the active tank is going to go this way, whereas, so group 4 needs to run this way, and then group 3, 2, and 1 need to run this way. Alright, so let's look at what that looks like. They're just blasting. A good damage check, I think, is supposed to be like under 60%. We'll see how we end up looking. For a while, we'll probably end up lusting on Pargoth and using potions just to get through it safely so we can start seeing P3 earlier. Right, so this is their first set of rings. Right, they started over here on the left, had to move to the right, and then now they're going to back up for this last one. Now they're getting ready to hide. In this case, they did use a ping, but they also could use like some kind of marker. This is going to tell them where they're going when they hide. Like I said, for Devour, 4 is going to be for mages, tanks, and then like DKs or something that can ignore it. Whereas 1, 2, and 3 are for everybody else. 1 is going to have the slowest classes, same with 2. Healers will ideally be in 2 or 3 so that they can heal everybody during this phase. They run to the exact opposite side, and they stack up. And then they get pulled in. This is a nice and easy one. Everyone can stack up, and they can get pulled in. As you can see on this slide, they're all stacked up. They can get pulled in together. And then as soon as they're done being pulled in, we have melee go to the right, range go to the left. So now that they've all been pulled in, they go to their sides. You are going to follow, you know, your assigned positions. Like I said, this is roughly what I was thinking for spots. So now they're getting ready. The next thing they have is rings. So ring spawns, they're going left first. They all run to the left. They get their debuff as fast as possible. They move through, get the second ring as fast as possible, and then they back up for this. Now, for this inverse gravity combination with the pull, they do the planet, what we're calling the planet formation, which involves, you know, our tank being back here. We have, in our group, we're going to be having our healer group here, melee group here, and range group here. This is because we have too many melee, just for the record. For this one, the timing is, it's pretty tight. You have about like 1-ish second in between the pull and the gravity. And so Dratnos was recommending people should basically just take their hands off the keyboard, although you can just resist the suck, or like let yourself get sucked for 1 second till gravity finishes, and then you can resist just to make sure, right? We cannot have 5 or more people get sucked into a planet. It's going to cause issues. Well, it's going to cause issues is an understatement. It's going to wipe us. They get gripped. Just the general sequence of the fight, it's a mechanic rings, mechanic rings, mechanic rings over and over again. So now they're getting ready for rings. Rings are spawning. They're going to go right first. Cross over, and then they back up. Next they have pull 3. This is another planet formation one. This is the one though where the timing is backwards. We'll never see this again except for this one time where you get pull first and then you get gravity. So you actually have negative 1 second is how I'm thinking about it. So because of that, everyone is taking their hands off the keyboard and they're getting sucked. Now in this situation, this is the range group, but for us it'll be the healers. They are too far to the left. They need to be over here in this area. It's going to make it easier for them, and it's going to avoid what's about to happen, which is that they almost get pulled through. And in the same way, yips should be right about here so that it avoids what's about to happen. Look how close they get to wiping because of this. So if yips had been a little bit over, it would have been better. Oh, another good rule of advice or tip is that when you are lining up for the planet formation, there should be a single line cutting through all 3 groups. That was a terrible line, right? Where the healers are along the line between the tanks and the melee. That's how you guys know when you're in a straight group. So we're getting gripped, right? Now we're getting devour. So in this situation, we're going to have Ava ping himself to indicate the middle of these, although it's pretty obvious which ones you're going to. You don't have a lot of choices. Generally, it's recommended that you don't step into some people say under 1 second. You want to be safe, you can do 1.2 seconds or something, but don't cut it too close, but you also don't want to step in too early because you're going to end up taking a fair amount of damage. So you're hiding, you're now running across. Once again, the 4th group has to run this way. And then you guys get together, and we have an AMZ, and that's going to tell us where we need to be stacked to. It's going to be a nice reference point for that. After that, we get gravity. And so in Dratnos' video, he calls these, Pop-Tart Corn Dog called these toes. I'm just going to call this gaps. Now, on this first one, you actually have a lot of time. You have 2.5 seconds between the gravity going off and the pull going off. Almost 3 seconds. So because of this, it's very, very simple. You just have to be spread out in your circle. And then once that is over, in the last 2.5 seconds, you just need to make sure you guys all come together so that you can get sucked in, because there is obviously these death zones, the death zone back here. And so what we end up having is actually a relatively small safe spot. There's a better video of this, like how we want to do this from Advance. We can look at them doing it here. So they step so far back. This is very important. You don't want to go all the way to the back of this because then you're going to cut off room here. But we basically get about 3 spaces. So in this, right, there's this dead zone. The safe circle is about this. And when we think about what are the actual safe zones, we have a middle spot up here. You might have 2 front stacks up here, depending on how far it is. And then there's about 3 places for people to be stacked up. Because of this, we're going to get crunched. We're going to overlap 2 people. That's just kind of a fact. It's going to be tight, so you guys are going to do whatever's safest. So I have a clearly indicated assignments for this these gap sets. Right, so in this situation, You know, melee, you're going to want to be careful about being so close. The melee soak is actually going to probably want to be a little bit farther back. But in it, there's like 3 soak spots, right? 1, 2, 3, melee, or mid, and then there might be a front group here, depending on how we're spaced. But, you know, we're going to overlap, like I said. So then they get pulled. You know, you want to make sure, obviously, to get pulled in the black hole. Just figure something out, make sure you don't die. We then get rings. We're going to go to whatever ring we have first. This is very good for them that it spawned here. It could have spawned on the other side, which would have been a lot tighter. Right, so they run in, they get their first debuff right away. They then move towards and try to get their second debuff as quickly as possible. And then they're going to want to back up to this back edge. Right, you're just doing this whatever the safest thing you can. We should not be planning to see a 5th ring. And you know, if we do, we just try to live. Right, so then we have our 5th set of tank pulls. This is another set of gaps. Ava's going to ping himself. That's going to indicate the middle group. Right, everyone gets their spots. The timing here is only 1 second, so it's a lot less safe as the first one. So you want to get a little bit spread out. You're all moving together. We need to make sure we're stutter stepping. We don't want to like sprint and run over each other. We got to be careful. Then they have ring spawning, right? They have Windrush Totem, and they have all these speed boosts to get to the first ring. They then follow the rule, right? Go to the second ring and then back up. So at its basic level, this is all P3 is. It's a dance. It's very important that tanks have their movements down, because this is like where tanks can kind of gate or determine how consistently we can get through P3. I also want to talk about in the video just what movement speed CDs we have for each mechanic. So when it comes to our first set of rings, we have 2 time spirals. I know that seems like a lot. I mean, it functionally is a lot, but it's so that we can have them for the second to last set of rings. So we get a time spiral. We get this Windrush Totem. This is so that we can run to the first ring, whichever side it's on. We then have a second time spiral. This is going to just help us get to our Devour positions. It'll help some groups a lot. It'll be not a life changer for, you know, the middle groups. We then have Stamp Roar. This is going to help us get from the supernova positions into, you know, our first planet formation, where we have our tank, we have our boss guy here, then we have our healer. That's not an H. Healer, melee, ranged, right? It's going to help us get into that position. We then have Windrush Totem for this second set of rings. We're going to get that so we can run to the first ring. We'll get another one on this third set of rings, thanks to Totemic Recall. We are then also going to get a Stamp Roar so that we can get ready for this grip into our Devour. Our second Devour, that is. Right? Lastly, we are grouped up. We then have to go play the gap set, or the first gap set. We get a time spiral to get ready for the rings, and then a Windrush Totem to, you know, help us run to that first one. We get a second time spiral because, well, why the hell not? So you basically get 2 time spirals here, and then you're going to get a third, or Stamp Roar for this last set of rings. All right, I'm going to send questions to everybody as well, just to make sure people prep for the fight or for this last phase. Please make sure you watch class POVs for your own class, see what people are doing, see when they're using their defensives. I want everybody to go in having a good idea of what defensives they're going to use. And if you don't know, there's a very easy way to look this up, to at least copy other people, right? Let's say I go Destruction Warlock, I'm at Lorgs, I'm on Mythic Dimensius. I can look at what defensives these Warlocks are using on Dimensius, right? What are they using for the Stars Falling? They're using Dark Pact. Doesn't seem like they want to over-index into it, which makes sense. Devour, they start to use more defensives. They're, well, I mean, they're just trying to stay alive at that point, right? Because the Supernova does a lot of damage, they have rings, and you can kind of just plan out what they're doing. And I mean, even if you want to make it as easy as possible, you can just click on this and type in your name, right? And if you copy this, you can put it into your own ERT note. All right, that's all. Bye.